Well, it's 33 degrees below zero this morning and my truck won't start, so I'm going to spend the day indoors editing a video. And this is a trip that I took bear hunting in 2011. And I've never put it on YouTube because the main thing is I didn't get the actual shot on video, but you'll understand that here as it goes along. But it was really a cool hunt, British Columbia, black bear hunt with a bow, 2011. And at the end of March in 2011, I got that call that nobody wants to get, and the nurse on the other end of the line said, your biopsy came back positive and you have cancer. And we'd like to schedule you for surgery the first week in May. And I said, well, I'm going to be on a bear hunt in British Columbia the first week in May. And she says, well, you can't just ignore this. People can die from this, you know. And I said, well, schedule it for June. I'm going bear hunting. And I did. Well, two things happened in my life at that time. Number one, I had cancer surgery, and I am now a cancer survivor. And number two, I shot the 43rd bear that I saw on that hunt and just had a really great time. So I'm just going to narrate the story through this video, and I hope you enjoy it. British Columbia 2011 black bear hunt, spot and stalk with a bow. Tomorrow I'm going to put a new battery in this truck, not today. We are headed for the Caribou Mountains of British Columbia to do a story on spot and stalk bear hunting for Bear Hunting Magazine, and we're going to be hunting with Eureka Peak Outfitters. Sun's actually out, so beautiful right now when the sun's out like this. There's my cabin. There's the cabin Steve's staying in. There's Ruger. And I don't know what the other one's name is. What do you think, boys? This hunt was characterized by rain. It rained pretty much every day, and in the high country, when you got up to a certain elevation, then we got into snow, and we found that there weren't very many bears available at that point. But it rained and rained and rained, and of course, most of what we did was glass cut blocks, which are areas that have been logged. A lot of glassing, a lot of driving old logging roads, places where the logging roads are deactivated and you can't go back in, then we would walk them. So we would walk and walk and walk, and we would drive and drive and drive, and spent a lot of time just glassing areas and seeing bears. And the bears are out on these deactivated logging roads really well because there's dandelions and clover and so forth. It's just beautiful scenery, and we just went out in it every day and looked for bears. And when the sun came out, the bears came out, and we saw a lot of bears. We saw bears every day. We saw a lot of sows with cubs. We saw bears that saw us before we had a chance to get a shot at them, and we also saw bears that just simply didn't give us a chance to put a stalk on them. Sometimes we'd catch a glimpse of them and they just disappear into the bush. And in a couple cases, we saw bears that we didn't want to shoot. For example, this one here, I would have shot, except it's really badly rubbed on his shoulders. We also saw other animals, including mule deer and moose, and man, did we see a lot of moose. The calves had just been dropped, and we saw a lot of them, and everywhere we went, it seems like the cow moose had their calves out in the open. And in this particular case, they were right on the road when we were trying to get back to go to camp for supper, and so we just backed off and we sat and waited for 15 minutes hoping that she would move her little calves off into the bush, and unfortunately she didn't. We came around the corner and, well, here we go. Her hackles are up and her ears laying back. we would like to get through. It's supper time. If I want my window down when she's doing that. We just want to get by, lady.
He's not letting us by. Come on, miss. We don't want anything to do with you.
Afternoon, Joe says, hey, would you like to take a little break from glassing and catch a few trout for supper? And I said, boy, that sounds pretty fun. So he had a couple of fishing rods stored in the back seat of the truck, and we went to this beaver pond and literally caught rainbow trout on cast after cast after cast. And he used a fly rod, I used a spinning rod, and the trout were just in there like crazy, and they were pretty nice ones. They were all 8 to 13 inches or so, and I just used a little spinner and caught a pile of them. It was a lot of fun, and we ended up with both of us keeping our 5 fish limit of trout for supper. At the end of day 4, Joe came to me and said, tomorrow we are going on a grand adventure. We're going across Quesnel Lake and hunt the other side of the lake, and boy, grand adventure it turned out to be indeed. How far are we going?
What?
How far are we going?
6 miles?
6 miles up there towards those mountains. So in this area, we were able to ride the quad down these deactivated logging roads. It's a remote area, but there is logging operations. So we were glassing the logging cuts, and we found a bear, and he was a nice big male. He was about a mile away as the crow flies, or close to that, and it was going to be a long time to get around to him because it was a very long route across some creeks and everything like that. And on the way, I came across a couple of moose sheds laying in the trail, and I said, we got to pick those up on the way back. And unfortunately, when we got there, the bear was not there, but I did get a couple of cool moose sheds. And then when we got back to the boat, we found out that the waves had washed the entire boat full of water, so we ended up heading back. Well, on day 7, it finally happened. We found a bear, and that bear was trying to cross the road, and so we bailed out of the truck, and I handed the video camera to Joe and took off after it, and unfortunately, he did not turn the video camera on. But anyway, here's the aftermath.
Well, I'm here hunting at Eureka Peak Lodge and Outfitters with my excellent guide, Joe, and it's the 7th day of a 7th-day hunt, and we got our bear here this afternoon. We've had a pretty good hunt, seen a lot of bears. We've had really difficult weather for this hunt. We had just a lot of rain. In fact, it rained at least some every day, but today. So it was a pretty tough hunt. But I'm happy with this bear. We were mostly hunting logging roads and glassing, cut blocks and so forth. And we happened to see this bear from the truck this morning. It was near the road, right beside the road actually, as we pulled up to a stop, and the bear just moved off into the woods a little bit, and I got my bow out. It appeared that he was going to try to get across the road by sneaking around behind us, so we started moving that way and saw him again. He saw us, and then he went a little bit farther, and then he actually tried to get across the road. I got a shot into him, and the shot was a little bit back, unfortunately, and so we gave him a little bit of time and then went sneaking down in to the point where Joe thought that he might be laying, and sure enough, as soon as we got in the woods, there he was, and I was able to get another shot on him, and here he is. So just a beautiful hunt, great place, just excellent accommodations, food's great, just gorgeous place to hunt, and I'm really thrilled with my British Columbia bear hunt.